Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Daily Dizzle for Monday, January 24th, 2011. It is I, Tommy Dizzlemits, as always. Got our usual to run through today, including the box office weekend estimates, where No Strings Attached was number one. On top of that, we got a lot of new movie news to cover. But first things first, yesterday was Sunday, football day. So waking up this morning, there's only one of three positions that you could have woken up in. If you're a Steelers or a Packers fan, you woke up in a very good mood. If you were a Jets fan, you woke up very, very, very hungover. And if you were a Bears fan, apparently the thing to do was to burn your Jay Cutler jersey. Granted that the Bears probably put up even maybe arguably worse of a performance than the Jets. Because, I mean, at least the Jets kind of came back when it was counting and it could have still been a close game. But the Bears seemed to be down by one or two at all times in the game. And there was an injury to Cutler. There was no specifics on it. You couldn't even catch what specific play, what replay it might have been. But the Bears fans just turned on him when they saw their star quarterback on the sidelines for the rest of the game being questionable, which included, if you go on Twitter, you can find awesome pictures of people burning the Cutler jerseys. Why, I don't know. Best is you even have old football players on there like, oh, what is Cutler doing on the sidelines? Oh, man, I played through tougher injuries, blah, blah, blah. Wow, dude just got injured. You don't even know what the injury is yet, and you're going to talk shit to him for not being able to play through it. What if he tore ligaments and shit, and if he took one step the wrong way, his fucking leg would snap off and he wouldn't be able to play football again? Sometimes it just gets ridiculous, and obviously you can tell when there's people who put all their investments into something, like the Bears, which is never going to maximize their investment pretty much. So, at the end of a game where it's the furthest that you're going to get, and you probably won't get to that point again, like championship game, what do? Blame your star quarterback and start hating your team. So, that's a good lesson, Bears. Be happy for your team while they're winning, and then when they lose, jump ship. Of course, 2 weeks away, Packers and the Steelers. We will have full coverage going into the Super Bowl as any news gets dropped on the way there. Meanwhile, let's jump right into the box office estimates for the weekend. No Strings Attached, Ashton Kutcher and Natalie Portman's latest movie, ended up opening at the top of the spot to over $20 million, which is pretty good. I mean, it's right in the same range as Just Married and some of the other ones that have come out in January, like we said. And it's really surprising considering that those are typically PG-13 releases, and this is the first adult-aimed R-rated romantic comedy to come out in a while, but it's definitely benefiting it from being the first one to be out in a while. Number 2 is The Green Hornet, making just over $18 million for the weekend. Its box office total sits at over $63 million. Half its budget's already back in the till, so it should be making a decent amount of money. Number 3, we had The Dilemma dropping from 2 to 3 from last week. It ended up making shy of $10 million for the weekend. It's sitting at over $33 million at half its budget. Still, comedies, when you have big names in them, they tend to get big paychecks, so it needs a little bit more steam to make sure that it can make a little bit of coin at the end of the day. Number 4 was The King's Speech, dropping 0.2%. So that's 0.2%, meaning it barely lost any money from last weekend. Granted, it had another 100 theaters onto its count, but still, to be holding up as well as it's doing for an Oscar movie is phenomenal. It's sitting at just shy of $60 million, which is 4 times its $15 million budget. On top of The King's Speech, excellent hold on the box office this weekend. Also won some Producers Guild awards over the weekend, including Best Picture, such and such. Now, that might not be a big deal because it's award season. There's a lot of awards being handed out. Only problem is 2/3 of the winners of the Producers Guild Awards have gone on to win Best Picture at the Oscars. Up until this moment, the Social Network, David Fincher, Aaron Sorkin, that was the one that was deemed as the movie that was going to win the Oscar. Unfortunately, the PGA obviously had to mix things up a little bit. So it seems like you've got the two contenders of The King's Speech and The Social Network. It could go either way, but as we said, the PGA does such a better job of predicting the winners that it's not looking great for The Social Network now. We don't even know the nominations yet, but still, if they're nominated and King's Speech and Social Network are both in the top 10 nominations, could be bad. Just saying. Meanwhile, number 5 was True Grit, down to $8 million for the weekend. It's sitting at just shy of $139 million, and it is now within 3 million of Little Fockers, which is sitting at number 8, ended up making under $4.5 million for the weekend. But as we said, the gaps are getting closer, despite the fact that Little Fockers opened so much bigger than True Grit at first. Obviously, quality movies, though, tend to make a little bit more money over time, and the not-so-good ones tend to drop off a little quicker, as is the case. Between the two holiday movies, though, you have two more Oscar contenders. Number 6 was Black Swan, adding another $6 million to its total for an $80 million total. 5-6 times its budget at this point it's made back, so that's crazy. Meanwhile, The Fighter, another $4.5 million, means it's sitting at $73 million altogether. That and the awards means that it's already a success. And then rounding out the top 10, some more of the holiday movies. Number 9 was Yogi Bear, making an extra $4 million, so it's sitting at still shy of $90 million, but it's made its budget back at this point. And meanwhile, number 10 was Tron Legacy, with $3.7 million for the weekend. It's sitting at $163 million altogether. So we'll have a look at if the actuals coming in ended up being a little higher, a little lower. But really, the big story of the weekend was the only true nationwide release, No Strings Attached, opened well. Meanwhile, the only other wide release at all the way back, the one that we had no idea what it was about, looks like not many audiences did either, ended up opening at number 14, less than $1.5 million from under 700 theaters, so it's not going to be around for too long. So even if you wanted to know what it was about, you're probably not going to get the chance. So that'll do it for the box office wrap-up for today. Now let's jump into the news and notes that have been coming out over the last few days that we haven't had a chance to cover yet. So we did tell you a couple weeks ago about David E. Kelley, the creator of Boston Legal, how he was attempting to relaunch Wonder Woman as a TV show, and every network turned it down. Apparently, NBC has now picked it up. At the time that they were pitching it, NBC was going through some of their staffing changes with the Comcast deal coming through. Now that the new regime is in, it seems that there were enough people who were willing to give it a chance that it will at least be on for a season. But I honestly expect it to be kind of like the Terminator show and other things of that nature, where even if it's going to be on for a little bit, you don't expect it to last too long. Meanwhile, Anthony Hopkins, he's in the news with his movie The Right coming out, which a lot of people have been saying looks very good. Could be alright. The PG-13 rating for it at the last minute might not help it, since it looked like it could have been a good R-rated exorcism-type movie. But Anthony Hopkins is only going to get better and better with his crazy movies, because apparently he is in talks now to play Alfred Hitchcock. Apparently it'll be in the movie Alfred Hitchcock and the Making of Psycho. Essentially, it's kind of like a true story, but it essentially is Hitchcock deciding he's going to make a lowly horror movie that no one would want. And of course, it went on to be Psycho, the most famous movie of all time. So it's gonna be very interesting to see almost Anthony Hopkins playing Alfred Hitchcock in what could almost be like a making-of documentary, but it's an actual movie. I'm very interested to see how it will play out, but I have no doubt that it's going to be awesome. Meanwhile, anyone who likes War Machine from the Iron Man movies, right now, it seems that Marvel is gearing up to give him his own movie. Don Cheadle says don't expect to see War Machine or Rhodes in the Avengers, since he's a lone wolf at this point, which is the exact reason they're trying to start up the franchise. Meanwhile, everyone remembers the Choose Your Own Adventure books, right? My favorite thing was not even starting them. You'd turn a couple pages in and start at a random point, because you could only go through so many choices, and you always ended up finding your way into the same pages again. One of those, do you want to walk over the bridge? Turn to page 2. Oh, do you want to turn around and leave? Go to the end of the book. So my favorite thing was to find all the endings. Somehow, they're trying to adapt the concept to Choose Your Own Adventure into a movie. I really don't see that working, but I'm willing to watch them try and fail miserably. So, at the very least, you can expect some good cheesy B-movie entertainment from the Choose Your Own Adventure movies coming soon. Other news coming out of Hollywood, though. Kiefer Sutherland likes to open his mouth a lot, and you gotta start wondering if maybe he's back on the booze or battling one of his problems again, because he keeps talking about the 24 movie. Maybe it's just a case of he doesn't want to be forgotten and have people think he's irrelevant because he was Jack fucking Bauer. And even though 24 might have gotten canceled, everyone still knows 24 and knows Jack Bauer. So every time he gets a chance, he pretty much talks up, it's going to be shooting next year. Apparently he was talking to Extra recently and mentioned it, but then Fox went ahead and once again says, we don't have anything in the pipelines. Every couple months and every couple weeks, it seems at this point, though, this rumor pops up, because last time, it was only a few short weeks ago, where it was rumored that Ridley Scott was directing the 24 movie. So I don't know who comes up with this. I don't know what drugs Keeper Sutherland is doing to come up with all this information. All I know is I would like to have some. So tomorrow the Oscars are going to be announced, which means with the best awards in Hollywood, you also have the worst awards. We're talking about the Razzies. These are my favorite ones to watch because I like to consider myself knowing what is the shittiest of the entertainment out there right now, and this list usually does a very good job of backing up those opinions. Worst picture, we have The Bounty Hunter, which wasn't the worst movie in the world, I will give credit. The Last Airbender, Sex and the City 2, Twilight Saga Eclipse, and Vampires Suck. So far, so good. Worst actor, we have Jack Black for Gulliver's Travels, and making fun of the fact that he was just trying to do the quick Ben Stiller family movie cash-in again. Gerard Butler in The Bounty Hunter. I could watch Gerard Butler be himself in every single movie because he's not really an actor. He just plays himself. But still. Then we have Ashton Kutcher for Killers and Valentine's Day. I guess Ashton Kutcher is really only good for being Kelso, so whatever. Taylor Lautner for the Twilight movie and for Valentine's Day. And Robert Pattinson. Okay, so far I'm really liking these nominees because they are very accurate. Worst actress, we have Jennifer Aniston in The Bounty Hunter and The Switch. Miley Cyrus for The Last Song, good. All four of the chicks from Sex and the City 2 nominated together. Megan Fox for Jonah Hex, and Kristen Stewart for The Twilight. So far, so good again. But my favorite, the worst screen couple, or worst screen ensemble. Cast of Twilight Eclipse, cast of Sex and the City 2, cast of The Last Airbender, Jennifer Aniston and Gerard Butler for The Bounty Hunter. But my personal favorite nomination of the category for best or worst couple ensemble, for worst couple, is Josh Brolin's face and Megan Fox's accent for Jonah Hex. That one has to win it. So yeah, I mean, the Razzies, very recognizing of what is bad, and it's just confirmed that everything that I hated from the last year was shit. That's all the time we've got for today's Daily Dizzle, though. We do thank you guys for joining us as always. If this is your first time checking out the Daily Dizzle, don't forget to click on the username Dizzlemits, or you can go to our YouTube channel directly at youtube.com/Dizzlemits. We do a Daily Dizzle Monday through Friday, and we also have a lot of archives, some older music video highlight reels that we've done for some awesome movies, ranging from Beetlejuice to High Fidelity to horror. Pretty much you're guaranteed to find something that you'll like in there. So, as we said, if you haven't seen anything before, go ahead and check out on any of the Daily Dizzles that you've missed. Go ahead and browse through our archives, see what older stuff you haven't seen before. It'll kill some time for you. And as always, we do hope to see you guys here tomorrow. We'll have some more of the latest movie news and box office analysis. If you found any of the information in this video today useful, give us a like. It'll only help us get exposure. That's all it takes. Just thumbs up. So as always, we do thank you guys for joining us. I am Tommy Dizzlemits for the Daily Dizzle. We will see you on Tuesday.